Intro. All right, Hardyanas. Welcome to this week's episode. I'm here. Before we get to our guest Cam, who's back, this episode is brought to you by alltradescover.com.au. Delby, what do they cover?
They cover whatever you ask them. Actually, no, they will cover. Make an inquiry.
Yeah.
And
call them up.
They will let you know if they can cover it. I'm sure they can. But for legal reasons, I can't say that they can, and I can't name specific examples.
I got another message on our Insta the other day saying they were going to inquire with All Trades Cover and drop our name. So keep doing that. They'll cover you for all of your trades needs, big business,
You're
small
a sole
business.
trader.
Yeah.
Looking after the individual people as opposed to the big units that don't give a fuck about you.
Exactly. I love that. This episode is also brought to you by Kahuna Golf. Yes, mate.
I got a game in.
Yeah.
Where did I play? With Jarks Barrett. On the Sunshine Coast. We went to, I think it was Narandra or something.
And he wore his Kahuna, I know.
Yeah, he always wears his Kahuna top.
Good man.
I was playing with my broken foot, so by about the 12th hole, I was fucked.
So you walked?
No, we had the cart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck, imagine walking with that. Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't amazing, but it's because I wasn't wearing Kahuna.
Yeah.
If I had my Kahuna golf hat
Exactly.
and my Kahuna shirt, I would have been smoking it.
Who needs
Exactly.
a foot?
I've been wearing it everywhere. I wore it every day in Bali.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I'd actually
Nice.
daggy dad golf hat like it's fucking. I'm not there to wear trendy fucking.
Well, by being yourself
Yeah,
is being cool.
Exactly.
Bro.
But
If you want to be cool too, Kahuna Golf,
Mate.
you can get 15% off using the hard yarns.
Hard yarns, 15
as the code word.
Yeah.
I've got to get onto that. That sounds good.
Mate, they're bloody, and he's awesome. He's getting some new stuff sorted as well. Yeah, I've been saying that for a bit, but he's onto it now.
And we've got a hard yarns golf day coming up soon as well.
Yes, I've talked to him about that. So we're in.
So Patreons. So if you do want to be invited,
Yes,
join the Patreon.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
New sponsor alert. Oh, we've actually had them on the podcast, and that's good because we had them on, and we're not promoting it because they're just paying us. We had them on because I thought they were a good opportunity to talk about it. But the Breathwork, GOAT, greatest of all tapes.
Big fan.
Would you wear them during breathwork?
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Mate,
That's
have you
all
put it
coming
on yet?
together.
Have I showed
No,
you?
I haven't been here since.
It's a game
mate.
changer.
I haven't met them because I was away.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So the instant you put it on, it's
Yeah.
not a fucking fallacy.
If you do this, you can open it up. That's kind of what it does.
Right.
It just opens up those passages.
mate,
And you can breathe in through the nose.
They are so good. But
And you know the benefit of nasal belly breathing. Like if you breathe through the nose, it just calms the nervous system
Yeah.
as well. So if you open that up.
well, it's a perfect sponsor to have on today because we did talk a bit about breathwork. But yeah, they are
Goat.
great.
Their name is Goat.
Goat. They
Greatest
do
of all
mouth tape
tapes.
as well. They're mouth tapes.
That's for relationships.
It's great for your snoring, good for breath. I notice it when I'm running. We'll have a code word for you guys soon and some logos and stuff up. But GOAT, get around
it.
Greatest of all tapes. It fucking helps with breathing. Speaking of breathing, we were joined by Cam Watkins for the second time.
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. So do you remember what we spoke about today? You got to go into your heart space.
I think the main premise was getting out of our heads, our busy minds of ours, and back into our hearts, trying to find a little bit more calmness and peace. And then we just chatted a bit of shit about all sorts of different things, really, didn't we? It was bloody great.
Bit of Blazing Swan.
Good. Blazing Swan. Human connection.
Spiritual enlightenment.
Just real good, wholesome chat.
Being a human.
Being a
really?
human, yeah.
What is that all about?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Gracing some an alien. So.
We're just figuring it out. We're just figuring it out and chatting about it, really. So
That's right. Just
Fuck
connecting. So if you want to connect with us, drop into your heart space. Forget about, concentrate on the road if you're driving. But drop
But
into your
that's
heart
being
space.
mindful, right? You know, because when you're driving, it's easy to go in autopilot and be thinking about all the other shit. And that just creates tension and stress as opposed to just being present, being in your heart space, being mindful. So, yeah, fuck yeah.
Well, there you go. If you wanted a little preview of what this episode's going to be like, that's it. Yes.
Right.
Let's go.
Let's get hard.
Let's get hard.
Let's
Cheers,
get hard.
guys.
Let's get hard.
Welcome to Hard Yarns Podcast.
I am fucking fat.
Anything Chris White says, please disregard it.
5D is actually a state of being. It's a unity consciousness.
That was Hard Yarns with me, Frankie Rose. So I'm going to throw it over to your co-host.
Daniel Delby.
And Cameron Branch.
I would do this and then I'd gong.
Free in attendance. for the millions listening at home. Let's get hard.
Fuck yeah. We're back.
Here we are.
Delby, this is our first one back since we've been back.
Well, I came back from Europe and then
Oh, yeah.
we did some in the hand before I went to Victoria and Queensland.
Oh,
and
yes,
then you
yes,
went
yes.
away. And then
Yes,
this is our first back since.
So it's been like 2 weeks since we've done or 2 or 3.
3, I think.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Feels foreign. Very nice. Thanks for joining us, Cam. Good to have you back.
Thank you, man. It's good to be here, and exciting to be back for your first
Cam
one.
and Dan.
Yeah.
That's
well,
right.
Different Cam and Dan.
yes.
I like
Maybe before we get into things, touch it because you did a thing on the weekend, Delby, performing in front of 16,000 people.
Yeah, we did Oktoberfest. So shout out to I had a few hard yarners come up.
Mm-hmm.
A few people on the way out bumped into them.
Sick.
So
Fucking sick.
Taryn Liams and some mates, but like just randoms.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah. So
Mate, actually, that was the over in Bali, listeners, and
get to it.
Oh, got to it. Yeah. No, someone on the plane, in the bus to the plane, like, between the airport and the plane, you have to go on the airport thing. They were talking to us about it. And I sent it to you, what he said specifically, because this is what a lot of people are saying. They said that it's good to see someone saying these sorts of things out loud. And I didn't realize people are afraid to say it out loud.
They are.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it?
But I think it's just become normal for us to do this.
Yeah.
It's like you're desensitized to it.
Yeah, but also like maybe we don't give a fuck what people think.
Yeah,
as much
well,
as other people.
that's a good point.
But that's weird. When I landed it from Bali home, via Edinburgh,
yeah.
I just started talking to somebody because they were like upset at customs because they were like, "What's your address?" And they were like, "Oh, I live here."
Yeah.
And they go, "Do you intend to work while you live here?" They're like, "I live here." I was like, "Yeah, but what do you intend to do?" It's like, "This is my place. This is where I live."
Yes.
So I turned around and started joking about that.
Yeah.
Because they started talking to me as well before that.
Yeah.
And I thought they knew me. I go, "Oh, sorry, I thought you guys knew me." And they go, "No, we don't. We know who you are."
Ah.
I go, "What?"
Hey.
Listen to the pod. I was like, "Oh, okay, fine."
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I just thought I knew them as like because I was trying to be.
It's definitely, though, what I am noticing is, we watch your reels.
Yeah, of course.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'll cop it.
Yeah.
I'll cop it.
I just want people to watch my normal reels. Just watch my comedy reels.
Oh, classic. But we had you on, maybe, how long ago?
I don't know.
Was it a year ago?
It would have been a couple of months before.
Before Blaze. Blaze was April, month or
maybe
two
a month
before
before
that.
April.
So early in the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Delby's definitely convinced me of going to Blaze.
Yes.
His retelling of that and the
I'm
experience.
convincing everyone.
So am I. So am I.
I mean,
I didn't even get to see Cam.
Yeah.
I know.
Like on the way in.
It just seemed very wholesome. It seemed, but also
wholesome. Yep.
But also a bit
I think it is a wholesome.
Overall, yes.
for what you
It can
wanted
be
to get at.
debaucherous.
It is. There's whatever you need is it's there.
That's great.
So we haven't spoke to you about.
Yeah, I've been
how
looking
your
forward to
plays
the
was and that.
I'm looking forward to the debrief.
Yeah, well, let's debrief it because we did a really good debrief of his. A pretty good debrief of the whole festival, but a very good debrief of his experience. But
Yes.
what were you doing? Where the fuck were you?
Oh, well, it was special for me because I met my partner M at Blaze.
I
a
met my
year
partner
ago.
M at Blaze as well. But
No shit.
No, MD.
How good.
Partnered with me most of the nights. No, sorry.
Well,
So
actually-
on top of that, I met my partner
Partner
M
M,
a year ago, Emily, and it was I was intrigued about what it was going to be like to go back with a partner because I met her. I had all my spiritual enlightenment leading up to the moment. Met M on the very last night of Blaze, and we just hit it off and had a fucking ball terror of a night.
So for the listeners that maybe don't know what Blazing Swan,
Blazing Swan.
it's like a similar version of.
Is it part of Burning Man or is it like a copycat Burning Man?
Burning Man is the thing, and then there's burns all over the world. So Blaze is a Burning Man event in WA.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's actually connected to the same.
100%. The 11 rules that you get indoctrinated in. Did you catch those?
Yeah, you had to do it.
So radical self-expression,
Radical acceptance.
Radical acceptance. Leave the place as you found it. So you take your rubbish away, and no currency. So it works off a gifting policy. So once you enter, you got your ticket. Once you enter, you don't worry about money. You kind of just cruise around, and it works off this gifting policy, which is just gift for the love of gifting.
And when is it?
It's over the Easter weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every year.
I'll arrange.
Yeah, pencil it in.
Yeah.
Pencil
My
it
issue
in.
this year was it was like Easter. My daughter, I had my daughter.
Oh, it's always tricky, and it was always a thing for me, Easter as well. But now it's the Blaze weekend. I've done it three years in a row.
Yeah, I think I'll just lock that one in.
Lock it in.
But yeah, nice.
Yeah, so you met Em, and then
I met Em last year. Had an incredible time. We've been having an amazing time, and then we went back together. And to do it together was so fun, man. It was just like we just laughed so much, and the love was just overflowing as it does out at that place. Yeah, facilitated by all the beautiful things happening, and we just had the best time with a couple of new friends as well. I've ever since going to Blaze, I've been on the bring everyone along, tell everyone about it, and yeah, it was nice to go out there with some new friends. There's always a couple virgin Blazers, and it's fun taking them under your wing and showing them what it's all about.
I think that'll be me.
Yeah, because I think would you like to go back with the same people each year? Or would you like to change it up each time? Because we got like a little Blaze fam now, and I'm like, it'd be cool, but I don't think you can ever repeat.
You can never repeat. Don't even try. Don't even try. Yeah. And the interesting thing I found, because I brought some new crew along, and I was actually, after maybe one night, I was wondering if they were fully gonna get it and dive into the feeling of what it's all about. And Em was sort of talking to me and saying, you don't have to tell everyone to come to Blaze. Blaze is this very special thing, and it's not for everyone. Yeah. Whereas I'm always just telling everyone to come. But sure enough, 2 days in, everyone's fully dropped in, and you just and having the absolute time of their life. And it is a life-changing thing, I believe. It definitely, it seems to get to the core of being a human, and you're connecting with people who you wouldn't normally connect with, and you're just there to have a crazy, explorative, fun, beautiful time, and it's powerful.
Found that it's probably what a utopia would be. Really? Just in a way of human connection, I felt like this is how we should treat each other always.
Yeah. That's right.
Because there's no other issues that you have to worry about, because you're just there. So it's like everybody is their best version of themselves. Even if they're like a little mangled elf, you're like, oh, that's the best version of a mangled elf.
They're having the experience that they're meant to be having right now. Yeah. I think for me, even the first one, it peeled back a layer of judgment. I don't think ever since I don't think I've judged a person. I remember the first night I was there, and I was just having this beautiful, authentic connection with this middle-aged lady who had her tits out, and we were just locking into this chat, talking about something other than what you would normally talk about, like what do you do, and we were just talking about the event and this and that. And I just remember thinking, there's just no judgment, and we're all just on our journey, and we're all exploring and trying to sort it out in our own way. And that's such a beautiful environment to go on a bit of an exploration.
Did you, after any of the events, write down what you learned, or did you just take it on and try and remember it, or how do you?
I'm not a great one to sit down and write things, but I've got one day I need to take like a month and just write so much and write a bloody book. But at this stage, I've got my learnings, and it's very clear how I evolved even over the 3 years and the 3 Blazes for me.
So Delby's obviously lucky. You had a podcast where you basically said everything you felt like you learned through that experience. So if you really want, you can go back and listen to it.
That's handy.
I've been doing that with the journaling. Sometimes I learn and I write it, and then you forget it. If you go back and read it, you're like,
it's good, sick.
But
I'd like to write, but my handwriting is atrocious.
Yeah, going back and reading mine. I'm like, what is that?
I can only imagine how valuable a tool it is, and I know that it is. I think because I just talk all day, every day to people, and I'm sharing stories, sharing my experiences, so it just continues to get clearer and clearer in my head.
Consistent.
There's something nice, and there is something quite like calming and soulful, or like, not sure what the correct word is, but
Cathartic?
actually writing, like the
Oh,
movement
man.
of writing, there's
good.
like something about it. But because I write horrifically, when I go, even like trying to write comedy, I look back and I'm like, what is this?
But
If I can
read
type, I can't really read it. Because when I get excited, I write quickly.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of gross. So
I'm impatient and I can't write quickly sometimes.
Not quick enough.
So that's my biggest.
I can type, but something about typing disconnects you from, I feel like it disconnects me from my thought.
Yeah.
Whereas I would go back and open something and read it, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't go back, click open and read it on a screen. You know, there's something that feels like a bit of a disconnect, even though you have to connect.
Yeah, well, I have my like routine that I like to do every morning, and it's about 15 different things, and I tick most of those boxes. The one that is almost always left off is journaling, because it's just a bit of time, and it's I don't know why, but it ends up being the most beneficial for me long term because I can go back and look at it.
Yeah, well, it's something that's been actually beneficial in that way, and say what you will about social media. It's a powerful tool, but over the years, and I've just put down learnings for me with a post as you do, and you can see the evolution over the years as the profile slowly ticked along. But I'm pretty authentic with the sharing and sharing my learnings, and so you can actually, I can go back and see as I kind of have evolved over the last
Let's see
few years.
Delby's evolution.
I always go
I
back
knew you
and
were
you look on
going-
memories.
I knew you were going to look.
So many of my posts are so
It makes you so angry of like,
You're like,
what?
who is this
really?
loser?
Oh,
From
great.
like 9 years ago.
I'm going to find mine.
It says like Daniel Del Borello is pondering whether to go back out at 1 a.m.
Oh,
Like just
that was back on Facebook when
Yeah,
you did
the status.
Yeah, I've got some of those.
They're the best. They're the best. I'm going to say.
might dress as a clown today at Oktoberfest.
Oh, it's so good.
Economy pack, pure moist, and I've just written ladies.
Oh my
It's
God.
for eyes. Like
Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, 15 years ago on this day, I haven't read this in advance, so I don't know. Why is there so many fucking things to do and so little time to do it? Someone help me, fuck my life, bring on Fiji.
Well, that's authentic.
Okay, cheers for everyone's support last night. We made it to the grand final. Oh, we were in
Oh,
the
that's
Battle of the
sick.
Bands.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Look, I put a profile picture of me drumming. Woke up this morning the same time I was supposed to be checking in for my flight. Oh, that's right.
shit.
Yeah, that was on the way to a footy trip. I forgot that one.
So there you go.
yeah,
There's
the
your
Facebook
journal.
memories can be like
That's classic.
very confronting. Because I've realised that the way I used to talk was what pissed me off about my younger brother.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, it's just me going through
Classic. Yeah.
that same stage.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, well, you're like, oh man, you're just trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Maybe, but it's all different stages, and then you'll look back 10 years from now.
Yeah,
And,
exact same thing. Yeah, I always think that. Exactly. You think you're the coolest you are now, and you look back in 5 years, you're like, fuck, thought it was cool talking about Blaze. Like,
Oh, we'll be sick when we're 50. Absolutely.
I actually noticed that recently. The best, most authentic version of myself is not an attractive person. I don't think they're very silly, very. It's not sexy.
yeah, but it
You
might
don't
be
think
because
so?
if you're
Maybe it
acting
is.
yourself.
But I've been acting myself in front of Grace, and I just feel like I can be silly and stupid and fuck around.
And she's loving it.
She loves it.
Oh,
Well,
that's-
it is.
that's
Yeah, you're incorrect. It probably is the most attractive version of
Yeah,
yourself.
potentially.
Yeah, to the right person you
That's
want.
right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that
It
is.
feels silly. It feels weird, but you're just it's like that inner child. You're letting that
Yeah.
out. We
Yeah.
go back to when we were kids. Just no filter. Let it out.
Yeah.
No one can argue or complain. It's just pure love.
Yeah.
And that's what's coming through, and she's
that's,
loving it.
That's what Blaze is as well. You see some people, like I met this woman that was like very intense, but because it's radical acceptance,
Yeah.
I just had to be like, oh, cool, yeah, whatever. Like in my
So
head, I'm
good.
going, oh, any other normal situation, I'd be saying to people, oh, she's a weirdo, and then I was like, okay, cool, she's just being this little gremlin. I'm like, thank you, but no, she could tell I was kind of like, thanks.
It's so
But,
powerful.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, and once you've experienced it at its most epic, at that little melting pot that is Blaze, you're cruising around here and nothing even comes close because everyone's back into their just Perth way of fitting in and conforming and that sort of thing. But if you see the odd person that's just rocking it and still doing the radical self-expression, you're just like, fuck yeah, that, you know.
Get into it.
Yeah, it's so good, man. So
how did you get to do many of the day activities?
I taught, which is,
cool.
I always teach at these things. I taught at Blossom a week or two ago.
Yeah, how was that? I was going to go.
It was good, man. Yeah, it was sick. It's like similar, you know, but different. You know, timing and weather, they've absolutely nailed the whole theme of Blossom. You know, springtime and the weather was just bang on. It was, and the stages and the lighting. It was just absolutely nuts down there, man.
What are you teaching?
So I taught spinal flow. So that's what I teach. I have like different versions of spinal flow, depending on where we're at. So I teach over the hill at Centre Space every Thursday, and that's like the weekly version, which, you know, I kind of think
movement.
Through movement, it's my take on yoga, breathwork, mindfulness, movement. How do we get out of our heads, have a break from all the madness? Yeah. Come back to ourself, back to our breath, back to our body. And I just like taking people through some interesting different movements. And I try to, I guess, use the physio knowledge to give enough detail that you really see people trying to do what I'm talking about, and they're dropping in and connecting and learning about their body. Yeah. And then I have kind of levels of how deep we go, because that's like the weekly one, which is like, let's go like, you know, so deep. And then we'll talk maybe about the Quiet Mind, Open Heart that I do with my brother. That's coming up. So that's a bit of a deeper dive. And then this is just another version at these festivals, because, you know, everyone is just on another level.
Probably easier to
so fun
connect as well.
Dude, they're just ready to go. Yeah. They are ready to go. And the more kind of psychedelic I get with it all, obviously, the more fun it is. And you just take them on a journey. So, yeah, I always try and teach it at those events. It's because, again, Blaze is like, if you have a gift, give it, and I would recommend you line up a gig down there.
Yeah, I'll try to bring Mac Shane this time.
Do it, man. Yeah, lock it in and get onto it soon. I've already locked one in for next year.
Would you have to remain sober until that?
No. Do whatever you want to do.
Like I wouldn't be performing on mushrooms or anything like that. Yeah. But you don't do it necessarily like at night time. It's like from 12 or 11. There's things happening.
I normally go. I try and get like early arvo. Yeah. I do that. The first year I taught, they had me in for 11, and the night before I was telling people, you got to come to Spinal Flow tomorrow. Come have a mushroom before, then come to Spinal Flow. And I had an all nighter, mad mad night, and I rolled in at like 8 or 9. And I literally got like half an hour's sleep. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. and I sort of stumbled my way to the fat camp tent where I was going to teach, and I was just a shell of a human. And I was like, look, I'm meant to be teaching spinal flow at 11:30 or whatever, but I was like, I don't think it's a good idea. and I was like, I'm just going to chuck it out. Like, I'll teach if you need me to teach, I'll do it. But, you know, maybe can I come back in like 3 hours or something? Yeah. And she was like, this is Blaze, man, whatever. Yeah, let's do that. And I was like, thank you.
Oh, my God.
And I was walking back down, and I saw this beautiful mate, Jens, who I met a couple nights before, and we just connected. And he's a Dutch dude, and we're still good mates now. And he was walking up ready to go for spinal flow, and he looked like a shell of a human as well. I'm like, man, we're coming back in 3 hours. Get a bit more sleep. And he was like, oh, thank you, man. And then we rolled back 3 hours later and just taught an epic class. And now I just love it, man. I look forward to it, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next year.
Sick.
I wonder if that's something we could create. A little festival, walk-away festival.
A walk-away festival?
Or get out of town.
Well, let's stick to a conference first, and then we'll go for it.
Dude, honestly, it's doable. My brother and myself and a couple of us, we had Flow Festival years ago. Cool. Yeah, because Stu, my older brother, he started teaching these classes, which was, let's say the first one was down at Kings Park, Saw Avenue. It was like a 3-hour session in the afternoon, and got all the different yoga teachers and musicians and little food trucks and things like that. 3 hours at Kings Park, and it was like magic was created. And he did a few more of those, This is going back like 12 years or 10 years or something. And then we were sitting out at a friend's property in Serpentine. We're like, we need to just do a festival where it's like 3 nights of this. And for us, it was, workshops and different things happening through the day, and then start bringing in the live music. And then it's kind of party time at night time. All the food trucks. We just had a thought, had a vision, and we just went for it, man. And over about 5 years, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then Stu went on to have his kiddies, and Mandy, who was it was her family's property. She went on to have
Mandy J. Nelson?
No, not Mandy J. Nelson. Amanda Noga.
Oh, okay.
She's Yoga Alchemy. She's living over in Bali there as well. But dude, it was so much fun, and just that thing of have a vision, have good people around you, and you've built this network. And if you just birth this thing into existence, it's amazing what you just go for it. And then it's so much fun because you're out there, and we're like, we've got a festival here. There's 500 people here, and we got this festival.
Well, I know a good farm out in York.
Oh, do ya? All right, dude. Yeah, let's talk, man.
Yes.
Sponsor.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal.
Yeah,
it would work.
Yeah, let's go.
100%.
Let's go.
Or even better, old mate John Elliott bought.
That's what I was thinking of.
Oh yeah,
His property.
I was thinking our mutual friend.
Oh,
York,
yeah.
But
John's got that new...
John's got the out that way.
Because you just
That's
find...
even better.
You just
Imagine
find...
those camels running around.
Dude, it's so fun. The key is having the right people behind it. At the time, I was more physio and I wasn't teaching, and so I was more in that world, and I'd help where I can, but so much of it was on Stu and Mandy, and I think the cortisol just was overwhelming after a few years, and we probably have refined a little bit more too. We had a lot of international acts coming in, and that costed money, and so then there's a more pressure to sell tickets. But I think one of the learnings is like keep it pretty local.
Keep it.
Yeah, and then you're giving a
It
platform.
becomes less commercial as well.
Yeah, and you got a platform for local crew as well.
Yeah.
Which there was a few big learnings and takeaways, but to get the right people and create a festival that is just fun and is ticking all of our boxes.
Yeah.
Well,
I reckon we would try start with a conference for the
I
original
agree.
idea,
Yep.
and then we can grow it.
Because we have an idea, and this is what I was messaging you
Oh,
about the
cool.
other night, to have a conference. Just
Sweet.
like a 3 or 4 hour conference,
Sick.
I guess, and with a intermission and maybe a meet and greet after. But
Cool, love it.
I've already isolated some names of who I'd like to approach, and they're all podcast guests.
Yep.
It's like Dr. Anthony Chafee, yourself, Boris, Dr. Stephen Bright, Jess Williamson, these sorts of people.
Oh,
and
dude,
I
that
would
sounds
wanna
great.
hit them up and create this, and then me and Delby can sort of host it.
Man, sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
like, and
Call it the hard yarn, but the B do have.
we do have.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So like be the person you want him to be, and like each,
Oh.
but also just finding something tangible for each guest speaker to give the people to do.
I love
Because
it.
I hate, like, not hate, but when you go to these sort of conferences, it's just a lot of people talking and giving some slideshows, and you're like, okay, cool. I've heard someone talk about this. I could have heard them talk about that on
True.
on a YouTube page and got the same sort of knowledge. I guess the experience of meeting everyone and being there in person is something different, but taking something tangible away, like, all right, here's a notebook. What are your 3 things you take away from this guest? And bang, 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 or something along those lines.
A bit of purpose.
That's right. And the big thing about that kind of setup in doing it face to face as opposed to just them listening is you create an experience, and something very special happens when you have everyone's energy in that room, and you know, whatever, all the little ingredients that you have to make that experience special that leaves a big imprint on them, they're going to be much more likely to actually do those little takeaways that you give them.
Yeah.
Because it was B do have, but then I was on the plane texting, and it was like, well, each speaker has like a bit of a
Be do health.
B do health, B do help, B do habits,
Nice.
B do hard, like all these
Yeah,
H
sick.
words were coming through.
Oh, nice.
So each person would have like a different, you know,
Genre.
genre of
Yeah.
what they can
Teach
help
and
us
help
with.
people
Yeah.
with. So, and
That's
then
cool.
if it is to be the person you want to be, do the things you want to do, and have the life you want to live, these are the things you need to do. So here's the health aspect, here's the habits aspect, here's the helping other
It's not
people.
what you need to. That's what you can choose to do.
Giving people some options and like learning about other ways to get there. Like I love the idea of having Dr. Stephen Bright talk about the psychedelics and the benefits of using, what are they using? MDMA and mushrooms to help with post.
But he's quite
even ketamine now as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's quite good at not pushing that though. He won't go, this is what you need to get. He'll say, well, there's a study here that has shown this, but the reality is it might be expensive. It could be other factors. He's not like, let's do
everyone
it.
do
let's
this.
do thing.
Right.
He's quite measured.
Because I was convinced by him.
That's an art.
In a way, by him not trying to convince me. He
that's right.
I said many times on both the pods, I was like, I'm still of the ilk that you can do the work yourself. And
you should.
You should. But then he did say, look, if you've got a, and Delby said it a lot, he's like, if you've been gifted the shortcut to get there, sometimes what's the difference if you get the same result?
Yeah,
and,
his analogy was, if you climb a mountain, if you take a helicopter straight to the top, or if you climb the top, you still get to the top. So there's two different experiences, but it depends what the outcome is.
The journey is.
If the journey is the thing that you need, but if the end result is the same, then who's to say which is...
That's right.
Like in that context of, if you have a breakthrough on mushrooms or whatever.
Of course. I think coming from, like, say, a yoga perspective, which is... It's a slower process. Yes. It's a slow grind, and you're learning to go on this exploration of the self through your attention and through the breath, and you work through things, and it's a gentle kind of unfolding and opening and blossoming over time. That gives you some real tangible tools to keep coming back to again and again and again. Whereas if you get taken straight to the top of the mountain and go, oh my God, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
It can be potentially destabilizing, because then it's like back to Perth and back to reality and back to work.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do I integrate this? So that's the only thing I think.
Awesome aspect.
Yeah. For me, it's about explore the different things when it's time to explore the different things with the right people.
It's the same analogy we talk about with like growing the podcast organically, slowly over time. You have a stronger base instead of people like you rise to the top real quickly and then you can fall real quickly.
We see that with comedians that get viral from a clip. And
yes.
a 5-minute comedian, they do a stadium and people go,
oh, fucking
shit.
Yes.
And then they never buy a ticket again.
Yes.
That's right.
So yeah, it's like, I think that's the message for life, like long organic growth is always the strongest. It has the strongest
I think
base.
so. Yeah, and the big breathwork one, we touched on it last time I was on. That's a big one as well. The big trauma release breathwork. Still haven't got you guys down for it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But that is
write it down.
Can we lock something in
100%?
Right now?
Let's
When's
lock
your
it
next
in.
class?
I'll arrange it, but my mate Liam, he's from a Mend movement, Perth, so does a lot of good men's work. But he's got the 9D breathwork tool. So the thing with trauma release breathwork, it can get pretty full on in terms of a physical experience, and you might want to have a big cry or whatever. So some people potentially can get self-conscious. So 9D, you've got headphones on, which is guiding the whole process, and potentially an eye mask covering. So you're in your own little world, having your own little experience.
Well, I do like this aspect of you saying and using the analogy of like an accelerator and brakes.
Yeah.
If you're not liking the experience,
you're in control. You're in control.
Slow your breathe.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Let's say you're in a setting and you're bumping into some stuff that you're like, oh shit, I didn't even realize that was there. And you're bumping in and it's like, you can feel this release about to happen. It's set and setting, the same with psychedelics. If you're not feeling comfortable, if now's not the right time, you just pull back on the breath. Again, the difference with psychedelics is you don't have the choice at that point in time. You've taken the thing, we're going for it. That's right. Whereas this is like,
I do like that aspect.
It's really nice. Yeah. Whereas if you're like, I remember my big one a couple of years ago, we set an intention and I'm ready, like, let's go. So I bumped into it. I was like, just breathe straight through it. It's like your foot's on the gas and we just ripped in. So this setting, you're in your own little world, but in the supportive space and with Liam and potentially Alan, his bro as well, holding that space. It's a safe place to just basically, as far as I'm concerned, let rip and blow off some steam. Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing to do. So, but again, this thing that it's a way of like cracking you open, like the heavy psychedelic dose or the heavy big trauma release breath work. So in my mind, having these gentler tools that we keep chipping away at in the background, calming breath, little mindfulness activities, yoga, regularly, that's what it keeps you grounded. It keeps you progressing forward in a nice peaceful way. And we come back to that again and again, as opposed to have the big breakthrough, get to the top of the mountain and see, oh, that's what it's all about. But then it's like, again, how do I integrate that? So we kind of want to be hitting it from every angle, to be honest.
With the mushrooms, I had those realizations, and then it took like 3 to 6 months of the reminders and like lessons coming back at me.
That's right.
To really go, oh, fuck. I've
Again
just
and again.
reacted the way I said I didn't want to do anymore. And it was like, took 3 to 6 months, and still going.
Look, the thing is, and that's being a human, and Ram Dass, said it well, and it's great to be enlightened, but you're coming back to being a human at the end of the day with this brain that's going to be overthinking things, and you get straight back into that. And okay, so what do? We just again and again and again, we need to keep working on it, keep being reminded. So it's not like you have one breakthrough experience and it's done.
That's right.
At the time, it feels like it is.
Yeah.
You're like, it's done.
Never.
It's
I'm
done.
solved.
Yeah.
Dude.
I'm cured.
I am healed.
Yeah. So the analogy with the breath work is we got this backpack on, and, depending on how our life's gone, we have these experiences, and we're chucking rocks in the backpack. It's kind of weighing us down. Have the big clearing experience, blow off a bit of steam, have that beautiful, enlightening, opening experience, lighten the backpack a bit, and it's like, oh, it feels good. You think you're sorted. Naturally, something happens. You chuck a bit more shit back in the backpack.
And that's what I was about to ask. It's not a end goal. It's initially it's like, let's get rid of this, but it's a consistent.
Also, some of the rocks you need there to remind you of lessons and protection.
Well, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
That's right. It's all part of safety and survival and your evolution as a human. But what happens with some of those, things, some of those conditioned patterns of thinking and behavior, they're getting in the way of bliss and joy and just being present and calm and happy.
Yeah.
So it's like, initially it's a protective mechanism to keep you safe, to keep moving forward. And
not everyone else is in that same vibe. No. You might have a Goliath that you need a rock for, and then you can protect yourself.
That's right.
And then you're all right again.
But it's all just a process. And you might also go and not have that big breakthrough experience on the first one.
Yeah. Just release a few pebbles.
That's just a couple, even if it's a couple of little pebbles, or this, what happens with the breath is it breaks through the normal pattern of the nervous system, which is protecting you all the time. So you drop the guard down and you get some insight into other parts of yourself which otherwise might have not had access to. But the same would happen with a good meditation, even a good yoga session. That many people, will describe being in a yoga session and they're in a deep glute stretch or something like that, and they're going deep with the breath, and they have a little breakthrough moment in that setting as well.
I was listening to the boys from Corrective Culture on the Grin Reapers pod. Have you heard of those guys? And they were saying some yoga poses they don't agree with from a physio perspective, or like to try and fix your back. Have you found some things in yoga to be a bit damaging for specific back injuries? Because that was an interesting point.
The guys are pretty, they've got their way of thinking, Corrective Culture, and they're awesome. But they definitely have their belief system. For me, there's many different styles of yoga, so let's not generalize. It's like if someone's wound up, then let's go do yin yoga, which is like just relaxing and stretching, and an hour to 90 minutes of just breathing and stretching is medicine.
That's what I like.
That's
a bit better than the
dude,
intense.
100%.
Mate, that's so much better. What's the other one? The flow?
Vinyasa flow. Vinyasa flow. It's beautiful, but some of those poses are potentially designed for more flexible people. But by working on it, you'll open up over time. The key probably is in the skill of the teacher, in that this doesn't have to look a certain way.
Right.
A lot of these poses were based on almost gymnast-like physiques that the average Joe just can't get in there and do. So there's an intelligence around just listen to your body, work with your body, and do your best to kind of follow along.
And how important is doing it, like the stretching consistently? Because, for example, my shoulder has been really bad.
Yeah.
But then I rolled and released my hip flexors and the shoulder pain went away. So I know everything's connected.
Yeah, everything's connected through the fascia and the connective tissue. And you know, they also talk about that's where we store a lot of old stuff, a lot of unprocessed stuff. So
in the hips.
Throughout the whole
connective
body.
tissue.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the whole body. It's, you know, I think of these bodies of ours like our own galaxy, you know, because we've got our cells. You know, when we talk about the body being made up of 77% water or something, it's a interesting concept to grasp when you look at these very physical kind of beings. But we've got cells that are, you know, predominantly made up of little organs that have their function, but then fluid, and then there's fluid between the cells. And so all through our body, our muscles, our tendons, it's all made up of fluid. So that just stores stuff. And I think of it like you're wringing out like a wet towel. If you have a sponge sitting in the sink and we don't wring it out, it's getting a bit gross, it's getting a bit smelly. You want to squeeze it and wring it out. So when you're stretching the tissues, you're taking them through their range and you're actually wringing out the old stagnant fluid, allowing for fresh, healthy new fluid to enter the tissues.
So I am gender fluid.
You are. We all are, if we really feel into it.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, I love that analogy.
Oh,
Us
dude.
being a galaxy.
And that's where we get a bit psychedelic with the spinal flow. And I love it, man. I love taking people on a journey, and it's like even picturing yourself moving through fluid. And then when we get good sound, and I get my bro, Matty Hatch, to do live sound, and the vibration coming off his music, get a big sub in there, and you can feel the vibration, and we know that vibration moves through tissue, so we know why sound healing is actually effective, and there's science to it now. It's not a woo-woo idea, is because the vibration is moving through the fluid that makes up your tissues, and if that intention behind the sound healing is of you know, a loving healing intention, and you're bathing in that, you're bathing in the vibration of that. It's freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you think is the end goal of? Well, this could be a very difficult question to ask a mortal human. But what do you think the end goal? Like, what is awakening? The spiritual healing and stuff that you're trying to help people with. Is there an end goal to it, or is it just a consistent thing?
Is there an end goal, or is it just be?
Yeah, well, that's that. Well, is that what it is? Is it just deshackling those traumas and those old beliefs, or
it's
like
the way I look at it?
Tough questions.
The way I look at it is to start with, we're looking to navigate through this life that we have with as much peace and love as we possibly can. I know that's a hippie idea, peace and love, but that's the truth. If we're moving through life with calmness and peace and love and presence, well, that's going to be a much nicer experience than being in our head and me against you and tension and this kind of restriction. So it's like, for me, you know, phase one is like coming back to the body, calming the nervous system down so that we can move from our head, which is all the to-do lists and all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas and all the regrets and all the conditioned thinking and responses, back to this place, back to love, back to calmness. And then we can move through that place, and then if we can learn to do that, things are much more clear here, things are much more calm here, and then you can move through life coming from the heart. You know, think of anyone saying if you follow your heart, you'll never go wrong. It's hard to do because we've got this head in this thinking mind in the way. So we're learning, and through the practice of, say, yoga, we're learning to observe the thought processes and understand that you're not your thought processes. Your thought processes are simply the mind doing its thing. But the thing about that is based on layers and layers and layers and layers of conditioning that's happened through your experiences over time. So people are moving through life connecting with their thoughts, but their thoughts are simply their conditioned patterns of thinking. So to learn to go, okay, I can learn to actually observe the thoughts like you'd observe clouds moving along in the sky. Yeah. But tune into those gaps in between the thoughts, like if we use the analogy of the clouds in the sky, look at the beautiful blue backdrop, the depth of that blue sky that's always there, that's sometimes just covered in clouds. So through these practices, you're learning to observe the thoughts without judgment, with love and compassion, but learn to tap into the depth of that bliss and love that's there all the time that sometimes just gets covered in those thoughts. So again, thinking about these bodies of ours, if we compare it to a weather system, more so than like this machine, compare it to the weather system, sometimes it's stormy and there's heaps of clouds and you can't get to that calm, blissful, loving place. Or sometimes it's a beautiful spring day and there's no clouds in the sky and you're going, how good is fucking life? So these practices teach you how to consciously, actively, through the breath, through your attention, move from a stormy day to a calm, blissful blue sky, a calm, sunny day where you can feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. And you have the power to do that through your attention and through practicing these skills. And then it is a skill. It's like a muscle that you can train. So if you're not practicing it, your ability to overcome those uncomfortable sensations, the suffering that comes with a hyperactive mind, you're not going to be that good at it. But the more you practice it and go, shit, it's a stormy day today within yourself, come back to the breath, calm everything back down. The clouds start to separate as the heart rate lowers, as the nervous system calms down.
Yeah.
And then it's nice and calm. So that's not going to you're not going to be enlightened yet.
Yeah.
But you'll be a bit more comfortable and a bit more happy and a bit calmer, you know?
And then, like, well,
Sorry, big rant.
Delby,
No,
but that's right. But Delby's brought this up quite a few times. Like, why is that the best option? Why not being stressed? Like,
Well,
why is
okay.
that, like, experience and
So let's
it's
say
subjective.
further down the line of spirituality, depending on your belief system, is the collective consciousness, the thing that is the same in all living things, animals, plants. This consciousness, that the universal consciousness now.
Christ consciousness, some people call
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Buddha consciousness,
Yep.
Buddha mind.
Source.
So the difference between us is, well, we've had different experiences and we've had different lives, and those different experiences have conditioned our minds to think differently and create this feeling of separateness. But if we get down to the crux of it, we're the same universal consciousness having a separate experience, so that later stage of enlightenment is understanding, well, we're all the same thing, having this experience. You know that Rumi quote, we're not a drop in the ocean, we're the ocean in a drop.
Yes.
I think that's a really beautiful quote, and I think I didn't fully grasp it or comprehend it until my dad died, and this feeling into, okay, his soul is leaving the body now, and the body has done its job and it's going to rest, and that universal consciousness that was in him throughout his life returned to the great ocean of this oneness. And that feeling of separate, you just start to feel it, and it just unlocks a little bit more and a little bit more through your experiences. But by quietening the mind, we can drop back into that, and you can get a greater sense and essence and connection with yourself when we get out of our head. Because again, the head is, think of the brain as this epic problem-solving computer, right? So, you ask the question, why would we want to live in our heart space as opposed to our mind? We've got this epic computer, why not live there? Well, the thing with having this epic problem-solving computer is it's constantly looking for problems. That is what it's doing. So those problems might be the problems in my life, the problems in my friends, the problems within myself. I'm not good enough. I wish I had more hair. Some wrinkles are starting to come through. They are all mind-made things. Maybe, I was in Turkey recently, and all these people getting hair transplants. Maybe I should get a hair transplant. If I had hair, that might be, as opposed, so all the problems with my life, that's all mind stuff. So what we're trying to do it's kind of like if you think of it like that, that's where fear would originate in the brain, because I fear that I'm doing this show coming up, that I'm not going to perform. I fear rejection. I fear whatever, that I'm going to be alone one day, that sort of thing.
Is this my consciousness speaking?
I didn't mean to look at you that way. I really didn't. Right? So the whole choose love, not fear thing, I don't know if you've ever seen the Jim Carrey talk. It's so beautiful. I'll send
That's
it.
his idol.
That's
okay.
speech.
So
That started the whole podcast. That started
choose
the whole
love,
journey.
not fear. Love is not in the mind. Love is in the heart. Problem solving is in the mind. We can use our mind to do things like, okay, let's have gratitude and let's appreciate what we have, and then that helps us come back to here. But in reality, choose love, not fear. Learning to quiet the mind, come back to the heart, open the heart, and move from that place calmly and peacefully. And we do that with these things like the breath and through yoga and whatever it might be. We come back to here.
That also comes back to something Boris said at the very end of his podcast with us, which was, if it's not authentically you and it's not coming out of a place of love and it's coming from a place of fear, it's not you.
That's
so
right.
It's finding that authentic version of yourself. And I'm definitely trying to do that. I can see you try to do that. We
keep trying.
Sometimes you go, fuck, I've not gone backwards, but I've done something to please others, people pleasing.
That's right. Yeah, that's a big
great
one.
yoga teacher said, try, do or do not. There is no try. Oh, that's a great Yoda teacher. My bad.
Nice.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting. The things that you try the most at, they don't seem to succeed, I guess.
When you be and do,
yeah,
it works.
Well,
that's right. When you come from a place of love.
Try, you just do.
Well, it's funny because I looked at the notes the other day of our episode that we did on Patreon, where we said the person we want to be and what we want to achieve in the year. And the things that I forgot about and didn't attempt to do have all been achieved. And the ones that I've been trying, they've gotten close, but they're the ones that haven't succeeded. Mm-hmm. So the ones I've been trying, instead of just, it is said and it is done. And it's like that we talked about you with your manifestation, how it's unbelievable. Sometimes you'll say something, you'll forget about it, and then 2 months you're like, I forgot I did that, and then you get something. I truly believe it's the ones that you say, I'm going to do it, forget about it, move on, be present, be yourself, be authentic, and then it does happen. Yeah.
Well, yeah. My brother Stu talks about it often, particularly when we have our big events and things like that. But if you're in a rip and you're fighting to get out, you're going to run out of steam. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes you just, when we let go and go with the flow of things, and that's when things start to actually come through. So it's like that paradox of when you finally let go of control, you'll have all the control you need. Or when you finally let go of power, you'll have more power than you ever dreamt possible. You know, it's
1,000%.
It's that the letting go is the big one, and whether it's through psychedelics or the breath or whatever, that's the one that keeps coming back through again and again. Let go. And in yoga, it's with every breath you have an opportunity to and you just let go every time, and it drops you back down, it brings you back.
That's what nirvana means, isn't it? Out-breath, the out-breath, I think.
I think the out-breath can give you access to it. Nirvana is bliss, heavenly bliss, you know.
Letting go.
That's right. That's
letting go of breath, letting go of, because you suck in the breath to breathe, and then to let it go is almost of like I'm letting go of my source of life.
Yeah.
But I can do it again. Yeah. It's going to come back.
That's right.
And like that was your message in your
My very first time I did proper shrooms on my own, it was screaming at me. Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Like over and over. Let go.
And mine was...
I'm like, who is talking to me?
Mine was similar.
Same, actually. Yeah, let go. And it was, Cam, it was the sweetest voice, this beautiful angel was just going, let go. Yeah. And I was just going, I get it. It's so beautiful.
Mine was yelling it.
Oh, you needed that. Yeah.
Young.
Mine was
go. Let go. I'm like, I know.
Mine was frustrated. Mine was frustrated.
Yeah?
It was just going, stop trying to let go and let go.
That's right.
And I was like, but I'm trying. And it's like, stop fucking trying. Like, but how do it's like a paradox. How do I let go without trying to let go?
Have you?
And then I went,
That's
I
right.
actually did the out breath
Yeah.
by chance, and I was and
Yeah.
I had completely. Let
Oh,
go.
that's cool. Yeah, the trying too hard to let go
Yes.
is a classic thing. Alan Watts says it beautifully.
Yes.
And the art of the archer, and stop trying to let go of the thing and just let it go. With shooting at the target, just let it go.
He uses that example of tell someone they can't think of a green elephant.
Oh, of course, that's right.
And what are they going to think of?
Yeah, exactly.
Green elephant. So
Yeah.
you can do anything you want as long as you can't think of this green elephant.
Yeah,
And then,
that's right.
Well, don't think of the green elephant. Oh, fuck, I thought of the green elephant.
And the classic, what resists persists. You continue to resist your circumstances, bump up against your current situation. It just seems to, again, swimming in the rip, running out of steam, if you can just accept into your circumstances, it is what it is, and let's just see how we can move through this as calmly and as peacefully as we possibly can.
Now, we say let go,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's going against almost all your logic.
You just
Every
got to
time.
go with your gut.
But that's the mind that's holding on.
100%.
And again, suffering is taking place there. So you're seeing, you're in your circumstances, and the mind is resisting. Oh, why me? Why is this happening? It's all the mind is turned up, and it creates this. And again, I think where I've brought in the physio side of things is the physical posturing of the resisting. Again, me against you. We're closing off our heart physically, and with that tension. So that ability to just accept what is, go with the flow of it, relax everything down, and then the suffering just seems to just.
And is that what you're
diminish.
doing with this event coming up, or is that public speaking, or is it?
Well, the cool thing about it for me was I growing up, I was always completely like this with public speaking. I just wouldn't do it. I'd run away from it forever. These practices is what allowed me to finally get on top of it, coming back to the breath, calming things down, seeing the neuroses of the mind, and my body having a reaction like I was standing up in front of people talking as though they might as well have been a pack of wolves about to tear me to shreds. My body freaking out.
That was your fear response?
It was, man. It was my it was my mind trying to protect me from the potential embarrassment of me fucking up in front of lots of people.
That blows my mind that people have that fear.
Dude, it was shocking, man.
I learned from I remember the specific time where I realized there was nothing to fear speaking in front of a group. I think I must have been 10 or 11 doing group assignment.
Yeah.
And I saw people were so nervous, and if somebody made a mistake, I realized that I didn't really remember too much of what they were saying after.
That's good, man.
And I'm like, why are they so stressed? And then I noticed that they would try and rehearse it word for word. And I didn't like them speaking to me like that.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a authentic connection.
That's right.
Not in these words as a kid, but I
yeah.
was like, this feels not like them. So as soon as I got up to speak, I treated the class as they were just one mate, and I spoke to them as if I was speaking to a friend.
Yeah.
And then that eradicated any fear I ever had.
Yeah.
Anything that was
'Cause you're not trying to-
I was scared of. I wasn't
can't
trying
fuck it
to
up, yeah.
think of 30 people thinking of me. I was
That's
just
right.
thinking
It's too
this
much.
group entity is one, and that almost connects back to
All is
us
one.
saying we are all from one source. If we are one, then when I'm speaking in front of one, you're just really speaking
That's
to part of
profound,
yourself,
my man.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Plus, if you can make people laugh, it really
helps.
drops the energy of the room,
Yeah.
and it gives you a bit of time to breathe. That was my big thing as well, because I was trying to make it so perfect or whatever, and because of the fear of rejection or whatever that is all originating in the mind. But for me, it was, okay, feeling the breath tighten up, feeling my body tighten up, everything clenching. And if I could just elicit like a little bit of calmness in the room that often happens with a giggle, and that really just comes when you're being authentic and allowing that to come through. It gives you time to breathe, and if you can breathe, you can kind of relax into it. So it's all, that's really awesome, man. It took me 35 years to get to that point, but we got there.
Yeah, I think authenticity is the number one thing.
It is, man.
If a speaker is a scientific mind and really passionate and they can analyze things, if they start getting up and talking about that, you can tell, this person's so connected to their topic that you're invested.
To their purpose.
If they're getting
dharma,
up
that's
going,
right.
the time that the state of the fuck, or like
It's all
you can tell
mind. It's all
like
the
a
brain.
script.
It's all the brain.
When it's a
Yeah.
script, it's not relatable. It's not authentic.
And again,
Like,
it comes in flow, the flow state.
Flow state is the most
It's the
important.
best thing.
I've
and
been hitting it heaps lately.
yeah, sick,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's-
So much, man.
With writing or performing?
Everything, life, everything's been flow state lately.
That's
Like,
where you want to be, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's
where you
been
want to be.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because if you got up and even if you just went,
oh, and
because
I
that's
do it.
authentically you.
I do it.
The
I-
crowd would go,
Dude,
this guy's.
I do it, and for me, like having, let's say, being flown to the top of the mountain, and having your experience, and then needing to come back and figure out how to integrate. For me, it was just a gradual exposure to the public speaking
Yes.
thing. Small groups, gradually bigger, gradually bigger, gradually bigger. And now it doesn't matter how big the group is. I love the opportunity to practice this within myself, because I get up there in front of whether it's 20 or 50 or 100 people, and at the Perth Town Hall we'll hope to get 100 people in there. It's a wild little room in there, and I get up there. Of course I'm nervous. It's all what exactly am I going to do? We'll see, but I just trust that I'll just figure it out as I go, generally speaking. But I just get up there and I take my time and I take a deep breath in. And everyone does the exact same thing. And you literally feel the whole energy in the room just go. And everyone drops back into here. Okay, let's get into it now. And it's so good. And it never gets old reminding people to do that.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Oh yeah. And what are you doing in this?
So-
is it public talk or is it?
No. So
or-
Quiet Mind, Open Heart is literally exploring all the things we've been talking about. How do we get out of our head and back into our heart? So Ram Dass, do you guys know Ram Dass, a little bit of his teaching?
My mate Brownie sent me his audio recording on
There's
YouTube.
There's
like
endless audio. He was a
where's he from?
clinical psychologist, like middle class American. Richard Pryor, might be butchering it there. Anyway, he was an epic clinical psychologist, thought outside the box, but found should try and break through of all of his humanness. He was just doing more and more extreme things like orgies and learning to fly planes.
The
And
first furry.
yeah, that's right. And he would have these experiences that allowed him to feel moments of feeling happy for a moment, but then come back into the humanness of it all. Then he discovered acid. And started exploring all that and had way more profound experience. His mushroom was a big breakthrough, and he's got so many beautiful stories that he shares there. But he kept coming back to being a human again and again and again, and even with his psychological thinking mind, was having trouble just finding that state of peace and bliss and love. And then he went off to India. And it was through yoga, and he found his guru Maharaji. So this was all back in the 60s. And then he found it was all in here.
Yeah.
It's all within. And so he kind of brought back the Be Here Now. That was his first book. Be love, be here now, just be present, be love, just be. He was bringing all that back in the 60s. Epic human, epic teacher. I got to meet him when I was in Hawaii. He's a really strong teacher of my brother. He married my brother and his wife, and yeah, he's a beautiful man. And I just
Very
remember,
progressive.
Is he still alive?
no, he passed away like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But I just remember he'd had a stroke by that stage. But I just remember looking in his eyes and just like he looked in another human's eyes, like he could see the wonder of the universe in every single person he met. And he did the exact same thing. They had a thing where every Tuesday they would take him out. He was living in Maui. And they had to wheel him out into the water, but he'd just be floating and looking up at the blue sky, and he would just go, boy, oh boy, oh boy, and like just looking at the wonder of the universe. And then he would say, joy, oh joy, oh joy, and everyone would get behind him. But he had the exact same, the wonder of just connecting with another human as I kind of look at myself through the lens of myself as it's just, crazy. So he was, how can we learn to live with a quiet mind and an open heart? And we continue to explore different ways how we can do that. And his big thing was so that we can one day die with a quiet mind and an open heart, so that we're not fearing the whole thing. Just move through with peace and love through every experience in your life. The humanness and the mind will add suffering to the peace, and how can we just keep coming back to a calmer state again and again and again?
Because if you're loving, not fearing, then when death comes, you should be loving death as well instead of
Let's
fearing
go.
it.
Yep,
Yeah.
let's leave the body behind and re-enter the ocean of that oneness, you know? If it comes with tension, as a lot of suffering does, with resistance.
Yeah.
And again, as Alan Watts said, it's, you know, he talks about it's like taking off a tight shoe at the end of a long day. It's like,
It feels so good.
it feels so good. And it's that exhalation, it's that drop, it's that release. You want to, you know, it's like we're just we're practicing how to be peaceful again and again and again, so that we can be peaceful all the way through.
Isn't it funny, like people that you talk about around us, you talk about Alan Watts being dead for 50 years, I think, Alan Watts. And
I'm not sure.
His
Alan
lectures, like I
Dude,
started listening to 10, 12 years ago.
Oh, that's good,
and
man.
They're still relevant. They're still relevant, which is incredible.
Oh, and you want to
But
go
they knew it
again.
all then. If
Yeah.
you think you're discovering all this shit,
Feels
you're
like the
that-
60s were like the golden age, and
They
then
were.
the government came in and fucked everything.
almost like they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
It's like psychedelics
It was
unlocked
like a little awakening, and then they were like, "No, we can't have this. We're going to fuck
Yeah,
this. Lock this
100%,
back
man.
down."
100%.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, Delby, but it's
Yeah.
almost like they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
The
How
war
much-
on drugs.
I believe so.
Yes.
So then, so Stu, you know, Stu's done he's 3 years older than me, and he's always been kind of my mentor in the yoga world. And he did all his practice in India. So he's kind of gone deep with all the ancient Eastern philosophy, how to quiet the mind and open the heart, and the deep practice of yoga. And then I kind of bring the sciencey, physio-y side to it, and together we kind of just put together this event.
Cool.
And we just try and create an experience. We've got a whole live band, and it's at the Perth Town Hall. So live music with, again, the musicians. There's this intention to help bring people into the here and now, and there's a healing essence through that music.
What band is it? Have we got like the tin drum, or is it
Oh,
like
yeah,
a band?
Well, I've got
like
a hand pan,
Yeah, that's the
so
one.
I've been playing on that for years. I'll do my little. So when I was still fearing public speaking, I was just hiding behind my drums. So
Yeah.
I'd be sitting there tinkering with Hatchie, who will play the shit out of anything you put in front of him, flutes and guitars and pianos, and I was just tapping away on things. And while Stu was just kind of dropping these bombs of wisdom, and I'd just pick up on the little bombs while I was tapping away. So I was kind of getting my little learnings throughout. And I remember him doing a soul gazing. Have you guys ever done like an eye contact soul
I've been
gazing?
too afraid of that, to be
Yes.
honest.
So we do that.
With another man, I've done it with a girl.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not ready yet for
Nah,
another man.
So you say that and just
Yeah.
think the obstacle is the way.
Yeah.
Keep it in mind. Because I was like that. I had a thing with eye contact. It was in my shy phase. It was in my fearing of public speaking phase, and I couldn't really hold down eye contact for a period of time, like a fear of truly being seen, you know, and all of what is me. And there was it was an odd number in the group, and Stu was dropping into a 20-minute soul gazing experience, and Stu was like, "Cam, you're in," and I was like,
Oh, no.
and it was with a girl who I was chatting with over the weekend, because it was a weekend retreat, and I knew that she was coming out of rehab and also was having a hard time not smoking at the retreat. In hindsight, she probably could have just been smoking at the retreat, but anyway, over there, you know, have a break. But she was having a really hard time, and good on her for diving into that. So I could, you know, I sat down with her, and I knew she was struggling. She didn't yet know I was struggling, just in this thing. And I just had to close my eyes for a moment and be like, holy shit, this one thing is like the most confronting thing I could think of. And I guess you guys can resonate a little bit with it. Yeah. And it's like, all right, let's do this. And we're dropping in, and like tears. And I'm like, just breathe. And this thing that we're talking about exploring, this collective consciousness, this oneness experiencing itself separately, you feel into the fact that, holy shit, like we're in this together and we're all struggling along doing our best.
Yeah.
And you start feeling this like, I got you. I got you. Just hang in there. And she's doing the same to me. And the love is just shining through. It's wild. And that probably was the first thing that started to crack me open. And it at least helped me with the eye contact thing. I didn't feel as apprehensive about just locking in and allowing someone to see into my soul, basically. So
I can do it here, no problem, on a pod.
Yeah.
But if it's without words, that's where if I have to sit in silence and eye gaze, but I can lock eyes in a conversation, no problem, as we're talking.
Yeah.
It's like something about the silence that drives me a bit fucking mental.
I know. There's nowhere to hide, man. And it's just pure soul connection at that point in time.
Maybe that's what they were doing at Diddy parties.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the white party. They were staring at each other's eyes, and we've all got this wrong.
Could have been part of it, but I don't think that's what they were doing. Jeez. And so it's basically exploring a heap of different tools, different things. I have a thing where I get everyone like shaking, like bouncing up and down and shaking, and I do it for like an uncomfortable amount of time, like 10, 15 minutes, while all the drums are freaking going off, and really stirring up the fact. So it's like, okay, if the vibration of the music moves through our tissues, then the vibration of our body will help shake up that stuff as well. And literally getting people to shake their shit out of their body with the breath, with the music, and, you know, if they want to bloody roar it all out, they can. And it can be a cathartic experience. You know how, like, they say an animal, if they have a scary experience, they just vibrate and shake for a couple of minutes afterwards, and they shake it out of their nervous system, so their nervous system doesn't hold onto it as much. But as humans, we don't do that. So we just store it. And so the shaking thing, the vibrating thing, it's freaking powerful. And again, it's all about finding flow. So just getting out of the head, just bouncing up and down, shaking for a little bit to this epic music. We just try and create a big, powerful experience. And then, so I'll do something like that, and then Stu will bring us back to the breath and calm everything back down and quieten everything back down. And it's just it's a 3-hour journey. We started it over the hill at Centre Space, which can hold 21 or 22 people, and that just, I felt like something magic happened, and we almost bloody blew the roof off the place. It's such a little healing centre down there. We'll talk more about it maybe, but so then we're like, okay, we need to go bigger. It's too small. It's beautiful and so intimate, but let's get more people to this thing, because, the more love you have in the room, it seems you're magnifying the healing power of the whole thing. There's something special about it. So then we went to this place in the city which held about 50, one in Freo that held about 80, and then we've kind of settled on Perth Town Hall because you can get about 100 in there, and it's such a beautiful building. And
is that the one that has an auditorium in it as well? I'm trying to place it.
It's like it's a big bloody
wooden
old timber rectangle, all polished, beautiful, lovely stage. And they've got an awesome sound system and all these epic, lights that can get a bit psychedelic, which is part of the fun of getting out of our head and going on this journey. So again, how can we quiet the mind and open the heart? How can we do that with our attention? How can we do that physically through movement? Again, if we're in our head, what does it look like if someone is stressed or in shock? What does it look like if someone's really cold, right? They want to do this. If you're really cold, the nervous system's going, okay, this is an uncomfortable sensation. I've got to look after myself. Same as if someone's in shock. What's that look like? Eyeballs like this, focused on a dot, tense, clenching, and they're doing this. It's the same thing if someone is sad.
Yeah.
If so
closed up.
I got to protect myself.
Yeah.
If I'm about to get run over by a herd of animals, protect all these bits. As opposed to calm, present, comfortable, safe.
Feels like everything's about connection. The more that you speak, every single theme has
authentic connection.
Looking into your eye, you're connecting back to source. Opening yourself up, you're connecting to what you need
That's
to connect
right.
to. Being together, you're connecting. It's like everything is human connection.
That's right.
Coming back to
connection.
that collective consciousness, that Christ consciousness, that Buddha consciousness, which is they've just gone within and found that inner knowledge, I guess.
Yeah.
Almost like a lot of people say, and I've heard it said before, remembering your purpose, remembering who you are, not finding who you are.
That's right.
Remembering who you are.
Yeah.
Because we're infinite beings having a
That's
very
exactly
temporary human experience.
That's
So,
exactly right.
I guess by quietening the mind, slowing things down, and finding that heart space where you can be authentic, that's where you can remember your purpose. And whether that's just to be hosting a podcast or whether that's to be like a local physio or fucking whatever it is, you'll find that by being that authentic version of yourself.
That's right.
How come we know? There's almost like a knowing, which I'll probably answer that by just saying that, but like you can feel a headspace and you can feel a heart space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how do we know that our brain is not just saying it's here, but really it could be a point in the back of our brain that's like where it is?
The pineal gland is obviously, that's pretty important.
Yeah, but like you can,
of,
it's weird how we go, oh, that's a headspace thing. Oh, that's a heart space thing. Oh, that's a gut thing. It's like, how do we know that?
So
Are
they
we
talk
just
about
feeling it there, or like-
coherence when everything's lined up, and I think the Dalai Lama said happiness is when your head's in line with your heart. Everything's in alignment. I think it's a feeling, and I've certainly learnt over the years, if I'm working through a difficult decision, you can think your way through it all you want, but you just go down rabbit holes of thought, and the thinking mind again is just conditioned to your experiences. So what's right, what's wrong, I don't know. You think. Am I just doing this out of trying to please people? So it's like the feeling of when it's like, that inner knowing, it's in here. You cannot think your way to that point, and that's the difference. It just, your whole body just goes like what does as a tool to work through a difficult decision. Meditate on one thing. How does that make your body feel? And put some time into it, and then meditate on the other thing. How does that make your body feel? Again, the intelligence of the heart, the intelligence of the body. The body knows if we can get out of the way of it, if we can quiet down the mind and come back to the heart, you know.
I've always found the thing that's right is almost, I hear it from a different part.
yeah.
Like it's almost like behind my head and low.
Yeah.
I'll have this thought or this voice or whatever it is. And whenever I ignore that with the front part of my brain, it always comes up. Like I notice it. It sounds like a fucked example, but I notice it with betting.
Oh yeah,
a
nice.
lot. Like anytime I'll try to overanalyze it, I'll have that like original thing, and that always happens. Or it might be with a show, or if I go, fuck, I need to do this, and then my brain will go, no. And then the thing I said back originally, that always is the thing that ends up happening. So I've become better at getting fucking this off and just listening immediately to this. But I feel like this is just the back part of this.
Yeah.
It's just different. Like,
yeah, that's right. And I think at the end of the day, again, we're talking about coherence. So it's like getting everything in alignment. We have this beautiful problem-solving machine of a brain. It's just if we're too identified with the thoughts, perhaps a lot of unhappiness lies there. So again, Ram Dass said it well, is that the mind can be a beautiful servant or a terrible slave, or we can be a terrible slave to the mind. Or the mind can be a beautiful servant or a terrible master. Because if we're letting the mind run the show out of fear, then that's where suffering probably will take place. But it's like, learn to quiet the mind, follow the heart, and then we can use this beautiful problem-solving mind to help us get to where we need to get to. But again and again and again, is this in alignment with what feels right to my true essence, to my authentic self, to keep coming back to that? And it gets clearer and clearer and clearer.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing with these conversations with what I've been saying is my higher self, has been getting myself to a point where I'm so quiet in mind I almost feel like I'm about to fall asleep. It feels like I'm almost there, and I sort of like click, and it's like I wake up and I feel it here, and then I feel like
I pointing to his chest, listeners.
Yes, sorry, I feel it right here, and I feel like I can chat to myself and ask these questions. And a perfect example is the other day I was like, what? So over in Bali, I was, and everyone is, you're shirt off You know, you're like, you're conscious of how you look and what you're eating and drinking and
all
stuff.
mind stuff.
And at the end, I was like, when I got back, I was like, I wonder why I don't care how I look. Like, I care how I feel, and I care what sort of person I am, but I don't like my appearances. What does that matter? So I was like, all right, why am I caring about this? And I came down to this state, and I asked myself that question, and I said to myself that the reason I was caring about my appearance is because it's a physical representation of how I'm caring for my vessel. And my vessel has to be at its best operating capacity to be able to tap into this higher version, this Christ consciousness.
I just need to empty my vessel.
Yeah, go for it, man.
So,
Enjoy.
but yeah, basically.
Let it go.
Yeah, let it go. But yeah, it just basically, it was suggesting that, it's not vanity that's driving you. It's the vanity is just the physical representation of what care you've been giving your body.
Yeah.
If you can see yourself putting on weight and you can see yourself not in good condition, you know you're not looking after your body. That doesn't necessarily. That's because of what we've learned in life.
That's
I guess.
right.
I don't have to be muscly and ripped and stuff like that, as long as I'm feeling my best. But that was my explanation to myself as to why I was upset with my body not being at the point.
Yeah. And I mean, I think when you're feeling at your best, you'll naturally be kind of radiating your light anyway, and there's an attractiveness about you if you're feeling really good.
Yeah.
But it's also acknowledging those thoughts and just being just observing them and going, okay, they're there. Like, again, I'm still have bits of self-consciousness about, I could have thicker hair. But I'm like, this is the way the universe intended it. Again, being in Turkey and looking at every other man that's having a hair transplant, I'm like, do I want to do that? Like, it'd be pretty cool having some thick hair. Like yours is, you got a great head of hair, right? Yeah, no worries at all.
It's thinning in some little parts up there.
but for me, it's like, okay, the humanness within me goes, I'd love to have hair, but for me, coming back to my heart and just acceptance of all things, the quicker we can kind of come to accept that, we're going on this journey and we're getting older and these things are gonna, you can see the vanity.
Yes.
It's there. I am not my hair. I am this spiritual being having a human experience that at this point in time is losing his hair.
Yeah.
And that's what the universe has in mind for me. Yeah. And this is the way God and nature intended it at this point in time. So I accept it, I come to terms with it, and that is a really liberating process. Not that we should necessarily just let ourselves get fat and because again, looking after your vessel and feeling confident within yourself probably comes with like a vitality and an energy and things like that. So if you're noticing those things, again, we have this mind that helps us solve problems, and it's like, I'll feel better if I'm in as good a condition as I can, get to at this point in time. And you just observe it and go, cool, I'll start doing a few more push-ups because I feel better when I do that,
Well, I even had this conversation with Grace because we were talking about it over there and like how you put all this effort into trying to look good when you get over there, and then you're one day in, you've been on the beers and eating fucking nasi gorangs, and you're like, oh no, it's taking one day.
Yeah.
And then we were saying, like, what about like my daggy friend who wears shitty clothes and no one gives a fuck what he looks like. I'm not talking to him. I love talking to that person because I like talking to that person.
Yeah.
And at what point did I factor in what he looked like?
That's right.
Never.
And chances are maybe you like talking to that person because he's very comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's authentic and he's being real. And where if you're trying to look a certain way, so much of it is psychological. You're going to the gym, you're feeling like you're looking better because you've been doing the things, and then one day, 2 days into a Bali trip, you've been drinking beers and eating nasi goreng and you feel bloated.
Yes.
No one's picking up on the fact that you're a little bit bloated. No one cares.
Not at all.
It's all in your own mind and your own experience. So I think it's interesting observing all of the humanness of the whole thing.
It was just great to have those conversations as
That's
well,
right.
to have that understanding of like, no one cares. The only person who cares how you look is you.
Yeah.
And
I hear you, man. Yeah, I had a month in Europe with M, and for me, like, other than connecting with her and having a beautiful journey, it was about just like, how relaxed can we get? Like, how calm can I get my nervous system? Because it had been a big year. And I'm like, I just need to calm this system down. And with that came a little bit of puffiness and fluffiness and softness. But I was so relaxed, man. And, you know, there's a photo of me chilling after this big meal and beer in hand on the beach in Turkey. And she's taken a photo of my tummy's hanging out. And I was like, he looks so relaxed.
Yes.
That person looks so relaxed.
Put it up.
I've definitely had, you know, a better physique. But at that time, it really felt nourishing for my nervous system. So I think it's just like, it's just a journey, isn't it? You just, when it's time to relax into it and there's a bit of Taoism in it, it's like there's a time to go hard and to tighten up and to train hard, and then there's a time to just relax.
And what is like, because I'm in a point where, like, my shoulder, for example, if I stop doing my exercises, I'm in a lot of pain. If I stop everything, I'm okay.
Sounds like you need a good physio.
If I do one part, which is like, it's easy to go to the gym and exercise a certain number of things. But if I just let go of my TheraBand exercises, I'm cooked. But if I do nothing, I'm okay as well. So I can't half-ass it.
There's a sweet spot in there.
I have to do it all or none.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there in agony on this trip. It doesn't matter how I look or whatever. Every experience is a little less because I'm in pain.
Oh, that sucks, man.
So that again was another example of, like, it doesn't matter how you look, it matters how you feel. And if the exercises were going to help me, why wasn't I doing them?
That's right. I mean,
same with going for a run in the morning. Like, going for a run in the morning in Bali was quite nice, making me feel like I could do it, and I felt better.
Oh, you were doing it? Doing the run?
I did 2 runs. And
that's good, man.
2 gyms for a bit of,
Yeah, that's good. You would have felt better afterwards, I bet.
I definitely felt better, yeah.
Yeah, look, we could talk more about the shoulder and rehabbing it, but a lot of it with the exercises is connecting with those muscles and allowing them to do their job. And then there's this other thing around what I talk about all day is load versus capacity. When you're doing all the rehab, you're building up your capacity to do more, so then you can throw more load at the body to handle more things. If you're not doing them, then your capacity's down here, then just picking up the shopping bag will hurt, right? So it's like we're conditioning our body for what we need to do. If our capacity is down because we're not doing the stuff, but then we throw this load at it, it's going to be a shock to the system, and it's probably gonna hurt, you know?
Probably didn't help having Scotty on one arm and Riley, Carly's kid, on the other arm, doing bombies off my shoulders, and I was
man.
Holding, fuck.
Well, that's right. And again, capacity versus load. If you were doing these things all day, doing your rotator cuff exercises, you're preparing the body for it. So
interesting, those ones as well, like consistency with those. The band exercises, they're not difficult at all.
No.
And so you don't feel like you're getting much out of them. But after 2 or 3 weeks of doing them, you're like, oh, that shoulder pain's gone.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I've activated this muscle that's helped bear the load on what area or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that, like, with pulling a hamstring or glute or something like that, it'll be firing in the wrong order, putting all the wrong pressure on the wrong muscle first. And
that's exactly right.
How the fuck do you make it fire in the right order?
So much of it is using that time when you're doing your little rehab exercise. It's just connecting to your body. The neuromuscular control, it's a moment of mindfulness. You're calming the nervous system. You're switching on the muscles that need to be switched on. So I really look at it in that way. It's just that the more we connect with our body and build that connection to our physical vessel, it seems to just work a little bit better, you know?
I'm thinking of doing a bit of 75 hard as well.
Oh, have you done it before?
Done it before.
Yeah.
Sensational.
Yeah, cool.
Saved me a lot of money as well.
True.
But everything was better.
Yeah.
Everything. And I hate that because I like it. I don't mind a beer.
Well, that's right. 75 days, no beer, hey?
Yeah, no alcohol. two forms of exercise for 45 minutes a day. One inside, one outside.
Yeah.
Read 10 pages of a book every day. Drink a certain amount of water every day.
Yeah.
Look, it's a fucking challenge.
Look, it is. And I think it's obviously very effective. But again, it's so rigid.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's not a way of life.
No, spinal flow.
That's right. Let's go.
Yeah.
I think I've learned to just be kind to yourself.
Yes.
And it's like, so it's all about balance. And for me, yin yang is just so much wisdom in balance. And for me, be a saint for 5 days and then enjoy yourself for a couple of days. And that 5 and 2 sort of works quite well for me. But
it's interesting you say that, because lately I've been thinking about who says, let's say you do cocaine.
Yeah.
Who says that is a bad thing if it's been put here by God, and like if it's not causing any damage or harm, and it's like people are doing insert X here, whatever it is, insert ecstasy here, whatever it is. Who says it's bad? Is it because the government has legislated that it's a terrible thing, or is it because inherently we know that it might be bad, or like
Just if it's abused, probably more.
Well,
so.
I think I think
not
look,
being part of balance.
I think too much of anything,
Anything.
even the best things,
Yes.
can be a bad thing, right? And what is it? I'll butcher it a little bit, but a substance can be medicine or it can be poison. The devil's in the dosage. And I think that's just so beautiful, right? Because it's like you might have a little bit of coke and have a bloody good time. And that's been really therapeutic and cathartic, and you've had but are you in control of it, or is it spinning out of control? I mean, I personally find that, if we're talking about the vibration of different things, the coke one seems to be a bit charged, and that isn't always, I look at MDMA and things like that as the heart opening stuff. So I seem to think does good things come from coke? Maybe bad things do as well. I don't think many bad things come from MDMA and stuff like that.
I think because the government's legislated against it, alcohol is worse than any other thing. But
100%, man.
Acceptable,
Again, as a vibration, it's a depressant. It's a low vibration, whereas other things raise that vibration.
I look at them all exactly the same as what you guys just said.
Yeah.
Like, same as coffee.
Yeah.
Too much of it.
You got to watch
you
it.
feel like shit.
Even too much meditation, you don't get anything done. You can't.
100%, man. What are we doing?
100%. If you sat around doing like meditating, you'd be a Buddhist monk on a mountain. That might be good for some people.
It'll be. You may get to enlightenment, but then you may lose the humanness
experience.
Exactly right. So someone should do that, because potentially they're helping to raise the vibration of
everybody.
Everyone. But
and that's their purpose.
But for us, it's about how are we having an influence on the people around us? How are we spreading love through the communities in our way,
I think if you're using it to mask a trauma or something within yourself that you haven't solved or healed, then that's where the issues come from with anything.
100%. And again, that comes from pushing away circumstances and using things, and there's many different ways to push away trauma, that's right. And devices and porn and drugs and whatever, again, it's this sort of thing versus, I just think at the end of the day, is it helping you to become the best version of yourself? And if having a blowout every now and then and that works for your lifestyle and then whatever, man, no judgment, that works. Whereas for someone else, they can not drink coffee, not take drugs, not, whatever. And then that's the best version of themselves. And for them, having a bender just absolutely ruins them, and they do shit that they regret, and they get anxiety and that sort of thing, and so I think a lot of it is, again, like coming back to the self. Know thyself is just the best advice you'll ever give someone, and for me, I think when I was probably going down the yoga pathway and I started to push away things like partying, I was sort of missing it and losing a part of myself. And then once I just accepted that, I love a party.
Yeah.
I love it, and I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to listen to what's right for me. And at this point in time, 37, I still love going and having a party every now and then.
I think what it is for me, I've literally learnt this on Monday morning. I was like, I think it's more the connection, having like partying, being out with, or even if you go back to a house, it's that weird connection that you have just in that room, and you're holding space together, even though you have been partying. It's still a connecting experience.
That's
which
right.
I quite like.
I agree, and I don't think we need to completely kind of poo-poo on alcohol either,
because you connect with a few bevies, you get on that same level.
You bring the inhibition, because again, we're working with this neurotic human
brain.
And so if having a drink does lower the inhibitions, it's a shame that we need to rely on that to happen. But let's be honest, and if that's what helps and you bring that down and you feel happy and you have a good time and you can manage the dosage and not take it too far and then have anxiety for 3 days, then we've found the sweet spot. So for me, it might be a couple wines or a couple beers and then that's the sweet spot as opposed to having the massive blowout.
That 80-20 thing.
I think
I've
so.
loved finding that one because that's been the barley chip's a perfect example. We were there for 10 days. We had 2 big blowouts.
Yeah, that's great.
And
Perfect.
it was the big blowouts
Good
were great.
fun.
They were
Good fun.
fucking fun. The parents all got to have their fun, and the rest was just wholesome family fun.
Oh man, that sounds awesome.
And it made those 2 big nights way better because they were the ones you were looking forward to instead of every night just being a fucking big
100%.
bender.
And that's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So
And it was the connection. Like
that's right.
Like it was.
And
I'm very
fun.
blessed to have
You
such
gotta
a
have some fun.
close group of friends. That
The
would
fact
go,
you
like,
could get adults to go on a trip with you.
Yeah. There was
done well.
there was like 40 adults and
It's crazy.
and then the kids as well, so it's just as many kids.
Yeah.
But the connections, like the best part was, so we made incredible memories, but it was also this way because he was his 40th. All the photos for the last 20
Yeah, it's
years were
killer.
coming up, and we were just sitting
Awesome.
there, and it was a great way for Grace to meet the whole crew because
Nice.
everyone's just telling stories that they haven't been able to tell for ages because. Fuck, Delby's heard every single one of my stories, but Grace hasn't heard it. And so
Sick.
it's this beautiful connection.
Oh, that sounds awesome, man.
But also just a bit wild by the end of it. It's a bit
But
fucking...
you're wild now as compared to your wild back then isn't wild anymore.
Oh, I don't know. It was pretty
You
wild.
gave it a nudge?
We got a
Did
good...
the Roo come out?
Not quite the
Well,
Roo, but...
it's not too wild. Did you get arrested in Bali?
No,
Then
nearly.
you're all right.
It's been a solid couple of evenings.
Oh, that's good, man.
Yeah.
I can imagine it got a bit loose.
Yeah, but it was 80-20, perfect. It makes those
That's
bigger
right.
nights the bigger nights instead of it just being another one. It was
That's right.
that's a special night, and
Yeah.
it's good.
Are you going a wild camp out? Speaking of connecting.
Is it on? Is it happening?
Yeah, I got tickets on
Yeah,
Wednesday.
cool. I'm pretty. I'm keen, man. I've never been before, and again, I do love a bloody festival, and might roll down with them and a few of the crew.
Because I heard it was good.
Yeah, I've heard it's
I
very good.
applied to perform there, but didn't hear back, so I've just bought a ticket anyway.
Oh yeah,
But
sick, man.
Yeah.
I got to check that out. I haven't got any plans, so I think it's a good option over New Year's.
Yeah, something different for me.
Something different.
Yeah. I got to go in and remind myself that I can't repeat the experience of Blazing Swan. I just need to take it for what it is because I think
Everyone's
when you
different.
had something,
Everyone's different. Don't compare. Even at Blossom, the
different.
the dialogue again. I think I like Blaze, but I like Blossom. I'm
it's
like,
not a competition.
they're different, man.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
different, and they're both amazing.
Yes.
We don't have to
It's
compare.
what you make of it.
And
isn't
Wild
it?
Camp Out's family friendly if you wanted to come down.
Yeah, okay.
So
When-
Jamie Lee's going with
when
her
is it?
son. That's over New Year's 30th, 31st, 1st to the 2nd. So
Could be worth a look.
yeah,
Okay.
normally I work because I know it's a good time to make money, but I'm quite comfortable-ish at the moment.
Hey, good to hear.
Just to have a
Things are
break.
flowing. Things are flowing. That's good.
Or somebody, I'll tell you off the pod, but yeah, so it's going well.
That sounds good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing heaps planned. So
Yeah,
it's
cool.
been a busy time. It'll be a busy month. Again, that quiet mind, open heart. If you guys are ready to soul gaze into each other's eyes for 20 minutes, look, I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know if we're gonna do. I don't know if we're gonna do the soul gazing.
Mate,
It's
halfway through, one of us will go, gay!
and it's
Do
funny
we have to
hearing.
hold shoulders?
No.
Oh,
It's funny.
that's on Blended, hey?
Is it? Yeah,
With
yeah.
Adam Sandler and
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore.
It's
Yeah.
funny hearing how there'll be people giggling away,
Yeah.
and Stu and I are both like, whatever. If you want to laugh, laugh.
yeah.
If
Yeah.
you want to cry, cry. It's
Yeah.
like it's all good.
love
We're trying not to take it too seriously, but yeah, it does come up. The people just struggling to drop in, so they're giggling. But again, Stu's like ridiculously go with the flow. I mentioned the soul gazing because we've done it many times, but always beforehand, I'm like, do you think we'll do the soul gazing? He's like, I don't know. What do you think? And I'm like, there's a couple guys that I know are going to have a real hard time if we do it.
That's
and he'll be
probably
like,
the
then we'll
reason
do
to do
it.
it.
Then we'll do
Yeah.
it. And I'm like,
I'd
okay.
probably rather do it with a stranger, I think.
Yeah.
It's nice. I've enjoyed
Yeah.
doing it with different people over the years. I've done it with Stu countless times. That's always an experience. Doing it with the stranger, a girl, your age, or like a middle-aged person, someone having a completely different experience. And every time it offers something different. It's really, you'll do it with someone who you can just see is having a hard time. And you can just feel love for that person, and you want to like help that person or someone else who's really calm and confident. And then that might bring things up in you, but it's always like worth going through the exploration. So don't let that deter you from coming. If you guys are keen, please come.
Is there a date?
November the 1st. It's a Friday night. Okay. We do it at 6 p.m, so it's 6 till 9. Yeah.
Is there a date after that? I'm emceeing a wedding.
Look, this is a big one.
Exact same time.
Cool, man. That's all right. We haven't done one of these ones for 18 months or something. We've done a couple at Centre Space again, but this is like the big one. We'll probably do it again in like 3 months, early in the new year. Okay. November 1, pre-Christmassy time, and then maybe like Feb or something, we might do another one. But would love you to come along. It's such a big one for the community, and that's what it's all about.
I've been booked into a date night that night, but maybe we could make the date night.
Make the date night the thing. Make the date night the thing. Honestly, man.
With another couple that I've never met.
I've been paid in full.
This could be...
Bring them all along.
Yeah.
I'll bring the whole wedding.
Yeah. But yeah, mate, that's...
Because we've got a high school reunion the next day.
Oh, yeah, same, dude. Yeah. 20-year high school reunion.
Yeah, same, yeah.
Where's yours?
Say Breakwater.
I don't know.
We're doing Breakwater.
I've got to look at... Yeah, nice. That's
school
crazy
was
shit.
Yours?
Mount Lawley.
Okay, yeah.
Corey White and... 20 years, hey?
You went to Corey White. Because he introduced us.
Yeah. So we've got Marta Day, Greenwood, ours.
Yep.
Yours are all on the same night.
Oh, let's all meet up at Bloody Connections.
Yeah. Do some stargazing.
That's right.
Some hole gazing.
So anything else you want to plug, mate? It's been a bloody awesome episode.
Thank you, guys. Look, I would say Centre Space Studio.
And let's get down there and do a...
we'll tee that up. Yep. I'll hit you guys up and we'll tee that up with Liam. On the front door it says, "Who am I?" ? And it is a place to just go in there, and there's different things between the yoga, the breath work, the sound healing, whatever. It's quietening the mind and going on that exploration of the self and looking at different ways to do it. It's literally a stone's throw over the hill there. I'd love to have you guys down. So just, let us know. I mean, I teach every Thursday night my spinal flow, and again, that's the like little dive, and there's just levels to how deep we go. That's the depth that I can go every week without, because it takes a toll, and you got to manage your energy, and that's like my weekly one, and then we'll have the big deeper dives at the festivals and the Quiet Mind Open Heart and things like that. But if you need to wring your shit out, your tissues out, and squeeze it out and do some yoga, or if it's just lying there and doing some chill breath work, or the big trauma release breath work, over the hill. It's it's just that little, it's the black studio on the corner. You wouldn't even know it's there. And I just love it. It's like when you're in there.
What suburb is it?
North Perth, literally just here.
Yeah.
And
how dare you tell everyone where we are?
Over the hill.
Well, you wouldn't know I was there. Yeah.
Over the hill. But you're in there, and it's this little sanctuary, this like, we call it the womb, because it's just this like, you're in your little healing place. All the cars are still driving by, like we can hear them here, but it's cool exploring how quiet you can get with your mind. And I always use the analogy of the cars, like they're just like the thoughts. Let them come and go. We let them come and go. We observe them without judgment. We know it's come, it's gone, just like that. We can do that. We can learn to do that with our thoughts. We don't have to grab on and go down a rabbit hole every time a thought comes up. And we can just come straight back to the breath, straight back to that blissful blue sky, and we can practice that again and again, and that's what it's all about. So
unless you're a motorbike that accelerates as you're going past my window, then I will judge you. You're a fuckhead.
So then it's like
it's just you having a different experience.
That's exactly right. He's having a good time.
He's having a good old time.
That's right. So if you came back to love, it's like, you know what, good on you. No, that's funny.
He's having his midlife blowout.
Yeah, exactly.
This is his joy that he's got before he goes back to 4 kids.
Yeah, well, that's
wife.
Good
which is
point.
probably loving, but very stressed.
Yes, good point. Delby, do you have
100% agree?
Do you have anything else to plug, Daniel?
You have Sydney shows this Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Sick.
Thursday, Albury. Albury Wodonga. I've been pronouncing it Albury, and then they all corrected me.
Albury, that's near where Burnsy was born.
Frankston, sorry. Then Friday,
And
Penrith.
Alan Watts. Alan Watts. Alan Roberts.
Is he doing a show, Ellen Watts?
No, yeah.
Is he from Albury?
Is that
Albury.
Wodonga?
Albury Wodonga.
Wodonga, yeah.
And then Saturday, there's 8 tickets left to Newcastle. There's 70 tickets left to Penrith.
Yeah.
And then on Thursday, there's plenty of tickets left. For some reason, I think Victoria's gone back, which is Albury's the border of Victoria, New South Wales.
Yep.
New South Wales are on holidays. Victoria's gone back. So I don't know if I've stuffed up here and made it while they're at school on a Thursday night.
Come on, fire them up.
I'm breaking even on the money side of things there. So grab some tickets. But if not, it's just for the experience for this one.
I love that.
That's right.
Just quickly before I say what I'm doing, while I brought up Alan Roberts, actually, thoughts and prayers with you, buddy. So listeners might not know, but he had a head-on motorbike accident.
Yeah, he's all fucked up in the
few
hospital.
weeks, got fucked up pretty badly, his legs and knees and stuff, and he's been in a bit of pain. I haven't gone to visit, so me and Burnsy will go visit him shortly. But send your thoughts and prayers. If you follow him on Instagram, just give him a message because he's one of our favourite guests. But he's okay. He's on the mend.
Oh, good. His head's okay.
He messaged going, guess what I've done this time?
Yeah.
Sick. Okay. As long as his hands are working.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
But I'm at True Grit all weekend. So
cool.
Friday, Saturday,
nice,
Sunday. I'll be
ready to do some work.
Yeah, they're long days. My voice was gone by the end of the first day last
Do
year.
vocal warm-ups and everything properly.
I'm going to test it.
Cool,
and we're sorting out some fringe stuff. So,
nice.
B-Do have. We're going to sort that. I'm thinking, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I'm thinking like post fringe, maybe like April or something. It's about 6 months away, so maybe a bit of time to sort of plan.
To promote it.
Yeah, so
as
the
a
B-Do
marketing
have
place.
conference. I want to just make sure we can lock
Sick.
down.
Sounds
Delby made a
great.
good point, like getting everyone available. Probably got to give them
A
bit of time. So I'm thinking about it. Keep an eye on it, listeners, because that B-Do have conference, Hard Yarns Presents, will be fucking, I reckon, awesome.
It sounds bloody great, man.
Yeah.
So
Very
we'll
keen.
get some good speakers and some very incredible guests coming up. But aside from that, thanks for coming on,
coming
mate.
on.
No
Good
worries.
to see you again,
We'll
bros.
do another one either pre or post Blaze again.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, for sure.
we'll do
Or
it.
we'll do one
Post-Blaze.
post breathwork as well.
Post Breathwork.
yes.
Let's do it.
Yeah, come on whenever you want, man.
It's
easy
great.
conversations,
Isn't
so.
it good just bloody having a good old
Phones
good old
away,
chat?
have a chat.
Good old yarn,
Sit
eh?
into our heart space.
That's right.
Connect.
So good to see you guys. Cheers.
Fuck yeah. Thanks for coming, mate.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Sure.
All right.